Okay, look, none of this stuff has been relevant for like a month. And we just have to get over that before the video even begins. We just have to get over that because I can't possibly edit any faster. It's so impossible. I can't describe how impossible. Timothée Chalamet has had a bad week, and he's in a power orbit so monumentally higher than mine that I can only conceive of it through imagination. So like, he doesn't need me defending him, and I don't even really think that's what I'm doing here. I think as much as it pains me, and people in my life know how much this pains me, I think I'm just giving a dude the benefit of the doubt. If you want an actual like take, sorry about Willow. I would love to direct you to Mandy Bassard's video about him. I really hope I'm saying Mandy's name right. To summarize, Timothée Chalamet's shirt was really ugly. The arts have long remained like very inaccessible and too singularly representative, which after decades of economic insecurity has led to like a severe decline in attendance in things like ballets and operas and plays and musicals. But like, Mandy is more thorough in describing it and more charming and has visuals, so go watch the video. I'll see if I'm smart enough about TikTok to link the video in the description, but basically, in terms of my video, what happened with Timothée Chalamet, you of course have yet to hear, I'm sure. He was having some sort of general town hall cultural chat with Matthew McConaughey. We're off to a great start, and our young tuberculosis warrior tells McConaughey this. I admire people, and I've done it myself, who go on a talk show and say, hey, we've got to keep movie theaters alive. We've got to keep the genre alive. And another part of me feels like if people want to see it, like Barbie, like Oppenheimer, they're going to go see it and go out of their way to be loud and proud about it. I don't want to be working in ballet or opera where it's like, hey, keep this thing alive even though no one cares about this anymore. All respect to ballet and opera out there. I just lost 14 cents in viewership. I'm taking shots for no reason. So a lot of people, especially because he's like kind of a fucking dude about it, when he's like, aha, no one cares, kind of moves. Like, he's not this effervescent Parisian twink anymore of the Call Me By Your Name, Lady Bird, Little Women days where he had to like go to the seaside for his capital R romantic Victorian illness days. You know, he's in his era of Dune, although we love pre-lobotomy Paul, and dating a Kardashian, and in his final days of an Oscar bid for Marty Supreme, which this controversy a lot of people are feeling has like almost certainly torpedoed, although I think there's also a general consensus that like Michael B. Jordan absolutely deserves the Oscar for Sinners with or without this controversy. Like that maybe Chalamet with Marty Supreme was like gunning for him, but that Michael B. Jordan in Sinners is an Oscar-worthy performance whether or not Timothée Chalamet says something dumb about ballet. Hi, this is future editing Renee coming at you 3 a.m. technically Monday morning. And yes, indeed, Michael B. Jordan won the Oscar for Best Actor. Incredibly well deserved, I would say. I think there are people who are going to chalk the win up to Timothée Chalamet's comments about ballet. I think that Michael B. Jordan handily earned this Oscar, considering the masterful way he played those dual roles in Sinners. Well, 3 roles, considering how much change happens to one of the characters. Look at him, he's so handsome. Very well deserved. Sorry, Timothy. Make a better movie. And Marty Supreme just seems like the kind of guy that in response to this ballet quote, people are now saying like, I knew he played that role way too good. Timothée is in an era where it's just much easier to map detestability onto him. And so I get why people have. This is not a video where I'm saying like, everybody has this wrong. I might have it wrong. I'm always very welcome to be the wrong one. But my brain is pinging, so here's my thoughts. A lot of the takes are very rightfully pointing out that Timothée is not the only member of his family in showbiz. His grandmother, his mother, and his sister are not only dancers, they are ballet dancers. I think this is essential context to that quote. I think this is unavoidable context to that quote. And I've seen a lot of takes that are summarized as like, may my son never hate me this much, or y'all are really surprised that a dude hates the women in his family. You're really surprised that he doesn't respect art that he's not part of. And maybe that's exactly what's going on here. It wouldn't be the first time that a man hates the women in his family, by far. And if so, then I'm extra sorry to his sister and mother and grandmother who have like undoubtedly just washed so many dishes and so much laundry for him up until the point where he made enough money to pay people for that. Because like that's the kind of guy with that attitude, right? It's Henry David Thoreau for today. And I wish that your boy gave a shit. But if it's not that, and I don't think it is, but again, I'm always ready to be wrong, then what I think is happening here is actually just much sadder. Where, like in Mandy's video, she mentions like Timothy could have been talking about something that like does matter very much had he been like 4 steps over, right? But since he wasn't, he was really shitty and myopic. He came off like a blogger waiting for print journalism to die, or like a YouTuber hoping that they'll stop printing books. Basically, and let me try to get into this tousle-haired Muir's brain for a second. If I'm a young man growing up in, I think, Manhattan, but you know, we all agree that it really should have been like provincial France based on like his name and constitution. And I see my grandmother working in an art form, and I see my mother working in an art form, and I see my sister like wanting to go into that art form, and they're struggling. Like, it's an art form that has been struggling for a long time. And Renee, I don't know enough about these women, and I don't know enough about ballet to know if these were stratospherically famous women, but in none of the discourse have they mentioned that they were, so I do not think that they were. It's a beautiful art form, yes, and these women were no doubt talented, yes, and presumably worked well enough to like be working artists, right? Not starving artists, not the top name in the glittering marquee, okay? But I see them season after season in an art form that has been struggling for years to keep the lights on, to sell tickets, to keep being able to put on shows. But then you, the brother, the son, the grandson, you choose to go into an adjacent art form. You go to Hollywood, movies, pictures, talkies, moving pictures, the films. Okay, I think I repeated a couple probably. And the impossible happens. You become like one of the top 20 in demand dudes. Like one of the top 5 in your age bracket, I think. I'm not entirely sure though. Sometimes they make new ones. Glenn Powell appeared fully formed in like a Born Sexy Yesterday type scenario to star in that tornado film. And then all of Hollywood and everybody has been trying to gaslight me ever since that he's been here for years. I can't buy that. The point is, Timothy's in demand. He's in high demand. He's a little waif of a lad. He's a straight, white, cis man, built like one of Lord Byron's more 2014 Tumblr-coded wet dreams. And he's gone from starring in movies about like Americana girlhood where Saoirse Ronan tries to relate to her peers, but there's just something different about her, either set in 2002 or 1861, to starring in movies about the furthest reaches of imagination's possibilities, like a planet that's been divided by colonialism in order to control spicy sand drugs, or a ping-ponger so good at ping pong in New York that he can sleep with married women. I think. I haven't seen the movie. Is that what it's about? The point is, it must feel spectacular. He was 22 when Call Me By Your Name flung him into the general public consciousness. He had been doing The Hustle before then and had actually gotten like some pretty good roles too. Like 3 years earlier, he had been in Interstellar, where he met that asshole on stage with him who is not getting nearly as much shit for agreeing with this bad take, by the way. When I went looking for the quote that Timothée Chalamet said to kick this whole controversy off, a People magazine article, Height of Journalism, popped up that included a quote that Timothy has said about ballet in the past. This feeling wasn't just a one-off. Back in 2019, at a screening of his movie The King, which had streamed on Netflix, our defendant said this. I was like, no woe is me thing, but you start working in movies and you start acting and pursuing your thing, and I like started to get the sense that maybe it's like opera or ballet or something. It's kind of like a dying art form or something. I don't think it's separate from the ideas in this quote that the movie he is promoting here is a Netflix movie. A movie made by Netflix, a streaming movie, and those have only barely cracked like legitimacy to Hollywood proper. There was such a long time where in the industry you might as well have been posting your own YouTube videos. So even though his career was hitting like pretty good strides here, I mean, Call Me By Your Name got him an Oscar nomination, the very thing that he's like treading water on about right now. That had only been like 2 years before, and acting is a present tense job. The People magazine article, which I'll also put somewhere, either in a comment or in the caption, I don't know how TikTok works, so I'll figure it out. It also has one other quote from another interview, and this time our fella has this to say. My grandmother danced in the New York City Ballet. My mother danced in the New York City Ballet. My sister danced in the New York City Ballet. I grew up dreaming big backstage at the Cook Theater in New York. I'm like a Venn diagram of the best cultural influences of the 21st century and the 20th century, which is certainly a more affectionate outlook on the art forms. I think there's pesky nuance to be had, and that's not as fun as the outrage machine, which given his shirt and his mustache and his jaw and his money, it's so fun to do. And given how good ballet is. I don't think all this defense of ballet and opera is purely a pendulum swing against Chalamet, though I think there's a not small contingent of people that aren't quite admitting to it. But yeah, ballet and opera are really good. They're really, really good, and it sucks that they can't be, in our current structures, financially solvent enough to not have to appeal to the rich white people that deign to keep them alive, even if just barely. And movie theaters are good, even if they are attended way less than they used to be, which is scary if that's something your career depends upon. A year after The King came out streaming on Netflix, the COVID-19 lockdowns happened, depending on where you lived and what colored tie your governor wears. But it certainly affected like whether your movie theater was open and operating. Is this possible? This is a case of shitty man hates the women in his life. Shitty man hates art he doesn't contribute to. Shitty man has shitty take. Yes. Yes, of course. Is it also possible that Timothée Chalamet has this morbid dread of time swallowing art forms whole, of spitting out their bones ungratefully, no matter how much time and work and love the people who make them has put into them? I know that I'm being kind of painfully generous here, but I think maybe probably yes. Industries die. I'm a millennial. My people have killed many industries, even a couple that deserved to live. Does it seem crazy that a dude in one of the more isolating and chaotic industries could have a absolute dread that it will end? That the industry of his family's matriarchs will end? Maybe from the stratosphere, you can see all the women in your life struggling in an art form that you did not pursue. And it can look pretty fucking thankless. And you can be so filled with relief that your art form is at least currently receiving society's form of attention, money, that you say your dumb, stupid, dying art form thoughts out loud in front of a camera several times. You know, maybe Timothy looks at the world and thinks about medieval gestures and how that might have really suited him had the art form not died. You know, being able to speak honest truths to the powerful, and also the diamond cut of the jumpsuit finally giving him some bulk, maybe? Anyways, that's the thought.